மும்பையில் இருக்கிற ஆல் இண்டியா லெவல் ட்ரேட் யூனியன் அது. மும்பையிலேருந்து எழுதிட்டு இருக்காரு. அவர் வந்து ஒரு சீனியர் அட்வொகேட் இன் மும்பை ஹைகோர்ட் as well as he appeared cases in Supreme Court also. நிறைய வந்து கான்ட்ராக்ட் ஒர்க்கர்ஸோட இஷ்யூஸை வந்து சட்ட போராட்டம், அதுக்கு எதிரான சட்ட போராட்டங்களை வந்து நடத்தி கான்ட்ராக்ட் ஒர்க்கர்ஸ், அன்ஆர்கனைஸ்ட் ஒர்க்கர்ஸ்க்கான உரிமைகளுக்காக தொடர்ச்சியாக வந்து சங்கத்தின் வழியாக போராட்டத்தை வந்து நடத்திட்டு இருக்கக்கூடிய தோழர் அவர். I welcome Comrade Sanjai Singhvi to address the
handicap, and I apologize for my handicap that I will have to speak in English. I'm not able to speak in Tamil. But I'm very happy to see that after many years, for many years people have been thinking that there should be unions in the IT sector. IT sector today, they say that one of the sectors in which India is advancing, in which India is playing a role in the world market. Maybe there was a statistic some years back that in the IT industry, though India has almost 18% of the software market in the world, it has only 2% of the branded software. So we are only writing code for foreign companies. But maybe as it may, with so much in the IT industry, why is there no union? Some of us had taken up this question some years back, and at that time itself we had noticed that the rate of attrition in the IT industry was almost 55%. I think Satish has got the whole statistics from them today. Today it is becoming less. But with such a high rate of attrition, naturally there will be no union formed, because if people lose one job, they are getting another. People are easily getting new jobs. But that situation is not going to last. So now a union is formed. Union is formed in Chennai. Recently a union was formed in Mumbai. I was helping in that also. A union attempt was made in Kolkata, but it has still not gone ahead. In Bengaluru, some attempt is being made. So now people are starting. But the way ahead, as we have been discussing over the past 2 days, though basically workers are workers, and as Comrade Krishnan correctly pointed out, there is great dignity in labor, and people are fighting to be called as workers. Today, even airline pilots, airlines are trying to show that they are not workers. But pilots are approaching the High Court and the Supreme Court saying, no, we must be considered workers. They are earning wages, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs per month. But they say, no, they are workers. Because the question is not one of, I am not a worker, I am an officer. The question is clearly one that rights are given to the workers under Indian labor law. Doesn't matter. It's not a question of status. It's a question of rights. It's a question of what is your role. But there are differences. So whereas I am quite clear, and there have been judgments also of the courts holding that IT workers are workers, that IT industry is an industry within the meaning under the idea. But nevertheless, new questions are going to come up. Because there are differences between this industry and other industries. Other industries actually manufacture. You have a clear product at the end of it which you can hold, which you can see, touch. In the IT industry, it's not like that. It's a service industry, no doubt. But even among service industries, they actually have products. Now, banking industry is a service industry. But it has service as it is. It is not as if it is dealing in products. In the IT industry, being a service industry, it is dealing in products which it is then selling or writing code for some other product. But at the same time, there are many differences. No doubt. So you will have to fight for differences. You will have to fight for rights. So, what I want to say to you today, I would like to put in one sentence. Nowhere in the world, not in India, not anywhere Nowhere in the world have workers been given any rights, either out of goodness of heart or out of somebody feeling that this is just. You name any law in the world, and I will show you where there has been struggle for it, where blood has been spilled by these. Labor laws especially, though they were passed in Parliament, I would go so far as to say they were not made. Take any labor, 8 hours duty. If today we have 8 hours duty, the demand was raised in 1862 by the International Working Men's Conference. Finally, in 1886, there was a big strike in Chicago. That demanded 8 hours a week. In that, 8 of the workers' leaders were convicted. The workers were fired upon. People died. 8 of the workers were convicted, leaders were convicted, saying that you caused the riot. Though today, internal police documents have revealed that the police instigated the riot. But they were at that time convicted, hanged. And only after that, the very next year, in 1887, world over the workers adopted, no, we must have 8 hours working week. And from that, the law for 8 hours. If we take our law in India, Factories Act, for the first Factories Act in 1897, there were big struggles. In 1872 was the Paris Commune. And 1874, in those days it took time. There was no internet. So just for the information to come from Paris to India, it took 6 months, 1 year, the whole information. But after that, in 1874, for the first time, they appointed a Factories Commission to go into the question of whether a Factories Act should be there. And finally, Factories Act was formed in 1875, then developed little by little. The first Factories Act gave only one way. What is that? That children below the age of 14 should not be allowed to work for more than 14 hours a day. That is okay. Nothing else. In the 1900s, beginning of the 20th century, in Mumbai under Lokhande, the workers struggled. In 1912, they struggled for a new factory act. They did nothing. They just made a memorandum and went to give it to the government, but the police fired on it. 12 people died. What was the demand? We want half an hour break for lunch in our duty. That was only demand. Half an hour break for lunch. So no right. If we take there's a very elaborate, if you see the Bonus Act today, there's a very elaborate method of calculating what is available surplus, what is allocable surplus. You have to add this, you have to subtract that. It is not done by Parliament. Parliament finally passed the law, yes. But bonus came first, slightly differently, I can say. Bonus is one slightly different thing. It's the only law in which India is unique. During the First World War, cotton, which is grown in Egypt, could not go to England, to the mills in Manchester, because the Suez Canal was closed because of the war. So they thought, why not bring the cotton to India instead of going all the way around Africa to the mills in Manchester? Why not bring the cotton to the Indian mills and make the cloth here? And from India you can send it to the whole world. So the Mumbai cotton mills, the Ahmedabad cotton mills became very important. So at that time, during the First World War, they started giving the workers bakshish. What is the translation of bakshish in English? Bonus. So they started giving bonus to the workers. You produce more, we will pay you more. After the war, they stopped giving it. Workers demanded, no, So the formula came that in years when there is a profit, then bonus must be given. So bonus became a profit sharing formula. From there, how much bonus should be given? Elaborate settlements came. Through the settlements, finally 1955 onwards, every year in Ahmedabad, every year from 1955 there was a strike around the time of Diwali in the Lalbhai group mills for bonus. We must. Finally in 1964, the government appointed the bonus committee after all these strikes, and in 1965 the bonus committee accepted the same thing, formula which had been worked out by the settlements and by the industrial courts were accepted, and this became law under the bonus committee. Same thing you will find, gratuity, the full bench formula. The full bench formula is nothing but the full bench of the industrial tribunal which was then taken. The Contract Labour Act. The Contract Labour Act, there were many struggles. Finally, industrial tribunals started giving orders of when to abolish. 4 criterion were put down. Those 4 criterion were accepted by the Supreme Court in the standard vacuum case. And what was accepted, Justice Rajendra Gadkar in 1967 said that these same criterion, first Labour Commission, that these same criterion should be made the criterion for abolition of contract labour, and in 1970 we got the Contract Labour Act. Those same criteria, if you read them, you will find they are word to word the same as what is used in standard vacuum case in 1960. The law came in 1971, but the same wording is there before the law in the judgment. So it's not Parliament which has made these criteria. It was the tribunals which went up to Supreme Court. It was workers reaching settlements. So every law has come through struggle. I am telling about India, but you will find the same thing anywhere. Today, in the UK elections, one of the big bones of contention, when the Labour Party won, but one of the big bones of contention was national health. Whether national health should be continued or not, how much should be given, what percentage of money should be given for national health. National health did not come into the UK out of the goodness of heart of the capital. That is okay, people should have national health unit. No. It is after Russia introduced free healthcare in the 1917 after the revolution. Soon after that, all over the world, people started being influenced. If they can have free healthcare, why should we not? And to stop revolution happening everywhere, countries like UK in 1930s, USA 1935 started giving free healthcare. So it is always struggle. Struggle may not be directly your struggle. Trade Unions Act, it is directly connected to Chennai. The Buckingham and Karnataka mills workers were on strike in 1925. And Buckingham and Karnataka mills signed a settlement at the end of the strike, 7-day strike, that okay, we will withdraw the strike, you withdraw the cases. Unfortunately, in the settlement only criminal cases were mentioned. So civil cases were not withdrawn. So in the civil cases, these workers were found guilty of obstructing trade. In those days, obstructing trade was a tort. And they were found guilty of obstructing trade. And each of the workers' leaders, 7 leaders, they were fined 2 lakhs rupees each in those days. You can imagine, in 1925, 2 lakh rupees was what? More than 10 crore rupees per worker each today. Of course, there were 25,000 workers at that time in Buckingham and Karnataka. They got together and paid off to you. But the demand went up all over the country because of that strike of Buckingham and Karnataka of Chennai. That we need a Trade Unions Act and all the workers must be held to be not liable for any civil or criminal liability arising out of a trade dispute. So, in 1926, Trade Union Act. So, every law that we have got, every right that we have got, somebody has paid. And the same thing will happen. But where workers have been united, the law has. We will see in India, labor laws have come in sudden spurts. Suddenly, from 1924, you have sudden spurt of acts. 1925, you had the 1924, you had workmen's compensation. 1925, you had the Trade Disputes Act. 1926, Trade Unions Act. All came together. Why? Was it that suddenly, for so many years, the British had not thought, but suddenly they said, no, these rights must be given? What? No. It was the effect of the Russian Revolution felt all over. Because now people were thinking that unless we give some rights, there will be revolution everywhere. So they started. Suddenly you find 1924, 1925, 1926, all these acts come in. 1929, again trade disputes. That goes on till 1930. 1935, then the war starts. During the war there are no rights. But many of the Indian labor laws have come through the war. DR Act, that is the Defense of India rules. Conciliation, what we do today, has come through the Defense of India during the war. And again, from 46, you notice a whole spate of labor. In 1946, you had the Industrial Employment and Standing Orders Act. In 1946, you had the BIR Act, Bombay Industrial Relations Act. That in other places was also there, like the CP and there are Industrial Relations Act. You had the, I think you had the Hyderabad Industrial Relations Act also in those days. Whatever. In 1947, the Industrial Disputes Act. In 1948, Minimum Wages Act and the Factories Act. In 1950, you had the ESI Act, 52. All those came together. But again, people say independence, but I don't think so. Independence came in 47, all these acts started coming in 46. Before independence. Why? Because the war ended. There was a new world, a new type of world. And in this new type of world, these new laws were necessary. There were no more the old colonies. There are now different controls. So you needed new laws. So laws have not come by just people thinking, oh, it is necessary. IT workers are exploited, so we will make a law. There will have to be movement. There will have to be struggle. IT workers will have to raise the demand. IT workers will have to unite. And IT workers will have to put this demand, of course, before government and before the employers, but the main is before society. If society accepts it, then everybody will have it. I think the demands are justified. IT workers are in a better position than most other workers. At the same time, we are passing through a very difficult phase. That also has been taken into account. Today, the government is helping, as Comrade said, Krishna, in taking away whatever little rights we have also. All our rights are being taken. Amendments are being made to the ID Act, to the Trade Unions Act was already made, Apprenticeship Act, Contract Labour Act. All these acts, amendments are being made to allow employers to exploit labour much more. This whole thing that is being said, what is the meaning of make in India? Why should an employer make in India? There is only one reason, that he will make more profit. If he is going to make less profit, he is not going to make it. So how can he make more profit? Can he get cheaper electricity in India? No. Can he get cheaper land in India? No. What can he get cheaper in India? So make in India is nothing but that. Make in India means, come, we will give you cheap labor. The rights of workers will be taken away. So we have to fight for a make in India with dignity. No doubt, we are not against it. India should make, but with dignity. Why not Indian workers should get the same wages for the same work as is done by workers in Japan or in the US? Why do we not have that dignity? That is not dignity. So, this is the whole point today. So, you are in this situation in the world today. You are in this time and you are forming the union at that time. But these are not insurmountable odds. This is a difficult situation. We have to recognize that and unite and keep that in mind. And if, in spite of all, in a united fashion, we can assert our rights, then I have no doubt that this is the beginning of a new dawn for the IT workers. The IT workers are really, in that sense, not very different from other workers. As he said, worker means nothing but a person who is selling his liver, who has to go day after day and has nothing else to sell but their liver. You don't have big land to sell. You don't have a lot of cars to sell. Or you don't have any goods to sell. You are selling your skin day by day, every day. And that is the definition of it. So, if we can come together, we can fight for a dignified existence as workers, then definitely we will be successful. I wish once again that all the workers in the IT sector join this union. Whatever support that the TUCI can provide, we will certainly provide. And with that, I wish you once again best of luck.